This is Crystal with Whole New Perspective. Now we know September is National Preparedness Month, and we've already discussed or asked some questions on what we are preparing for. So guys, I want to dig into some of the things that we should be preparing for in ways that we can do so. But before I do that, I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I want to thank you for hitting the thumbs up. A major thing to prepare for is a grid down situation. Now we may have thought that that would not happen to us, but guys, now we need to be prepared for just about anything. Look at the last few years. We had a pandemic. We had a major ship stuck in the Suez Canal. We had a grid down in Texas. We had the pipeline hacked and shut down for a period of time. We've had the hurricanes. Look at Ida, what it has done. Look at the wildfires. Oftentimes when these things happen, we end up in a grid down situation. Now, I have had 2 occasions where my power was out for 4 to 6 days. Now, the good thing about that is not everyone's power was down. So we could go get gas to run our generator, and we could go to someone else's home if we needed to do that. But what if we don't have that luxury? You know, just like they had recently with Hurricane Ida. Are we going to be wondering where the people are to help us? One of the things that we can do right now is start to prepare. The main thing to do is to stay calm. Now, I do not want to instill any type of fear in people, and that's why I want us to be prepared and not panicked. So if you look around at the situations that have occurred, you will notice that some folks have panicked. You have people cutting the gas line who end up dead. You have people that cannot get any food, didn't have food or water, and they're wondering where the government's at to help them. So guys, we need to prepare. Now, I do have a list of some things that we should prepare for, but let me tell you about the first time when we were without power for a few days. It was in January of 2003. I remember it well. My husband was working out of town. My oldest daughter was in school, and my youngest daughter, she required a device that didn't help her to breathe, but she had apnea, and it alerted us when she wasn't breathing. And of course it required electricity, and she was a baby at that time, and so if she stopped breathing, it would alarm. So we knew to go to check on her, or she would wake up because of the alarm and move and start back breathing. So that was a piece of equipment that was pretty important. Now, I knew that the power was probably going to go out because there was a forecast for ice storms. And I remember getting up early that morning and preparing hot water, getting things as prepared as I could at that time. And then I remember hearing the ice come down. And so I knew that it would be a matter of time, and I heard the transformer blow and we lost power. Now at that time, I didn't have a generator, but I did have things that I could light my home with. I did have a source. I didn't have a source to cook, but we had natural gas. At least the fireplace was working. But guys, as the day went on, it was a long time. So that day just seemed so long and just to drag on. So I had a cousin of mine call me that had power, and he and his wife came over in the ice storm and they picked us up. Now we stayed with them for about a week. And so I learned a lot during that time. We needed a way to power things when no grid was down. And numerous times between that, we were without power for short periods of time. And I'll tell you that my development petitioned the power company because that's how often we were losing power. If the wind would blow, we would lose power. And that happened for several years. And then we petitioned the power company and we didn't have that problem any longer. So then fast forward to Hurricane Florence. And yes, we lost power again. Now this time it was hot, so we needed to be cool. And we were much more prepared for this. We have a generator. It's a generator that runs off of natural gas, petroleum gas, as well as propane. And so we do have that. But guys, at the time that the power went out, my husband was out of town again. Now he was coming home the next day, and I could not move the generator. It's a very heavy generator. So you have to think about those things too when you're looking at ways to power your home. And since then, we've purchased a solar generator that I can move. So if you have those sorts of things, make sure you know how to use it. Make sure you know how to use everything that you have in your preps. It's just vitally important that you are not in a situation where you need it and you're missing something, because then you may panic. And the main thing to do in those situations is to remain calm. And there are some things that you need: food and water. Food and water. Please stock up on water. Do you guys remember how quickly the water went last year? I mean, in my area, we couldn't find water anywhere. You know, the food, the shelves were empty, no meats anywhere in the grocery stores, and it doesn't take long for that to happen. If we saw an alert run across the television now that said there is a food shortage, how many of us would get up and run to the grocery store? So how much food do you really need? How much water do you need? There's a lot of information that says you may only need 72 hours of food and water. You know, I would ask you to stock up on way more food and water than 72 hours. There are people that are down in New Orleans and New York, New Jersey, California, so many places that still do not have power. So they don't have food and they don't have water. And so they're standing in lines to get these things. Please get out and get your food. You know, one can at a time. I'm not going to say don't buy the expensive coffees, because I don't know many people that purchase those expensive coffees. Now, I'm gonna read a list of things that you may need. And so just jot down some of these things. And if I miss something, please put that down in the comments so we can help each other to get prepared. One of the things that we didn't talk about was medications. So if you have medication, you want to make sure that you have those things stocked up. If you have devices that require electricity, oxygen, You know, if you have medications that require refrigeration, please look into ways to do that. Do it now. And guys, you may need to look at alternative medications, natural things, in case you're unable to get to the pharmacy if the pharmacies are closed. ATMs are down. When there's a grid down situation, they're not up. So you need to make sure that you have some cash on hand, some small bills. Now, I have videos out that talk about power in your home, talks about how to prepare for hurricane, water, preparing water, having enough water, how to cook when the power's down. So I'm going to leave those things for you to watch as well. So sanitation is going to be very important. So please make sure that you have sanitation items. Not only your prescription medications, but your glasses. If you need glasses, make sure that you have that. Try to get an extra pair. If you have infants, make sure you have enough formula and diapers and wipes and things like that. Guys, when the toilet paper situation occurred last year and there was no toilet paper, all the wipes started disappearing. So please don't panic and go out and buy all the baby wipes. Please let these folks that have children get those wipes. But if you do have children, make sure you have enough diapers and wipes. If you're older and you have incontinence and you need adult diapers, make sure you have those also. I keep a pair of those, and I don't even have that situation, but I do keep a pair of those because I just don't know. Your family documents, important documents. Make sure that you have those and that you have copies of all of those and that they're safeguarded. You know, you want to keep them in a place to where you can grab them in a hurry if you needed it. Sleeping bags, that would be a huge help if it's really cold outside. You know, you make sure that you have something as simple as a coat. You want matches, waterproof matches. Make sure that you have that. You need a go bag. Make sure you have a bag that you can grab if you have that knock on the door and you only have a few minutes to get out because it's flooding or whatever the case may be, fire. Make sure you have that bag. Now, I had a friend that was affected by one of the hurricanes several years ago in Texas, and he and his wife, he was telling me that, and they just didn't realize how serious it was, but they had to be rescued by a boat, and they really just wasn't prepared for that. He said they left only with the clothes they had on their backs. So prepare an extra bag, a to-go bag. And I also have a video on that as well. I'm just gonna link my preparedness playlist at the end, and it'll show most of those videos. You know, you're gonna wanna have things for the kids to play. Games, puzzles, paper, things to keep them busy, and activities that'll be fun and keep their minds occupied. And being occupied, then they won't want to snack a lot. Now again, I'm going to talk about food again. Make sure you have your food. And one of the things we can do now is to eat less food. Cut back a little bit on our food. And our food will last a lot longer, and we can get used to not eating so much. And then on that note, don't waste the food that you have. Yes. Make sure you find a way to use everything that you cook. In your garden, if you're growing food, find a way to eat that food or preserve it. Please don't allow it to go to waste. Again, flashlights, candles, oil lamps, all of those things to light your home. Can opener, local maps. You want books that can help you to do books, or DIY books, those sorts of things. You're gonna want those things as well. One of the things that I will touch on is security. Now, that's a subject that people like to debate, and you may not agree with certain types of security. Have some security. You want to be able to protect yourself, and you want to be able to protect your family. Just look at what people would do after a few days with no food, no water. People, they become angry and anxious, aggravated, agitated. And there are people that will do, many of us may do anything or just about anything so that our kids aren't hungry. You know, in my last video, someone even said that as a keeper of their home, they're growing a large garden because they want to make sure if their children are asking for food, they have food to give to their children. So you want to make sure you are prepared. If you have lighting in your home, people are going to come to your home. So you got to be prepared to protect yourself and protect your family. So those are a few things that I wanted to discuss today during this National Preparedness Month. So you have a list of potential disasters or things that could happen. You should have a list of things that you may need. And guys, just start working through those lists. Start purchasing things one can at a time, you know, one jar at a time, one bottle at a time. Make sure you have some cash on hand. Make sure you have some cash on hand, because the ATMs will not work when the power is out. The gas stations, for the most part, they're not going to work either. So make sure you have those things. Make sure you have some gas. If it's cold, try to have a way to stay warm. If it's hot, try to have a way to stay cool. And just look at all those alternatives. And we'll come back together again and talk about some more ways that we can be prepared. If you have had some situations where you've been without power, let us know below, and let us know some things that you had that made it easier for you, because that is going to be of utmost importance to us, you know. So thank you guys so much for coming along with me as we talk about being prepared, not panic.